Normally on this channel, I try to give you good advice. But not today. No, today I'm sharing with you some things that will guarantee you fail at writing your novel. After all, a lot of people who try to write a novel will fail. They'll give up. They won't get to the end. Failing at writing a novel is a very popular thing to do, and as you know, you should always do the things that are popular without question. So here is my complete guide to failing at your novel. I suppose if you wanted to succeed, you could just do the opposite of those things, but whatever. Step number 1 in the guide to failing at your novel is to start tomorrow. Today is a really horrible day to write a novel. I mean, the weather is too rainy or too sunny or too hot or whatever. Most people who fail at something haven't actually failed. They're just going to start it tomorrow. Tomorrow is an incredibly useful tool you can use in other aspects of your life as well. Next time your boss or your spouse or your parent or whoever asks you when you're going to do something, just tell them you're going to do it tomorrow. Problem solved. A foolproof plan that always works without fail. Actually, with fail, because we're talking about failure today. The best way to ensure failure is to become so obsessed with failure that you fail to even start at the thing. Although if you never start, I'm not sure you can technically say you failed. Remember, today sucks, tomorrow is much better, so plan to get most of your writing done tomorrow. Next up, step number 2 in the complete guide to failure, allow your physical and mental health to deteriorate. As we all know, movies and TV are always a faithful, accurate depiction of reality that should be followed without question. And in these mediums, writers are always portrayed as drunken, poverty-stricken, miserable people propped up by a poorly maintained typewriter in a shabby apartment. You should do your best to shape your life in this image. Everyone knows that things like sleep, exercise, personal well-being, a healthy diet, work-life balance do absolutely nothing to enhance the creative process. Long-term fulfillment and productivity often arise out of addressing the issues that plague us day to day. So to ensure failure, ensure that you never make an effort here. Simple things like going for a walk, putting your phone down before bed, or eating food that wasn't made in a factory can go a long way to addressing some of these challenges. Remember that if you reach out, you'll find that the world is filled with a lot of helpful, supportive people who want you to succeed and genuinely care about you, and that while no one will be quite as invested in your success as much as you are, there are still people who care a great deal about you, and that fact alone should be enough to make you feel not quite so alone and helpless. Actually, don't remember that. We're talking about failure today. Next up, step number 3 in the guide to failure is to compare, and then compare some more. Compare everything you do to everything that everyone else does. Compare the quality of your writing to somebody who has literally decades more experience. Compare your first draft to the polished, professionally edited novels for sale at your local bookstore. Compare your level of productivity to somebody who writes as a full-time job and isn't working 60 hours a week and caring for 2 kids. Remember the acronym ABC. Always be comparing. Be careful not to find these comparisons as aspirational. No, always assume that you should immediately be at the same level as everyone else despite vast differences in time invested and resource availability. Context around achievement is important for understanding what went into that achievement. Make sure you never consider this. Always be certain on your worst days to compare what you've done to what everyone else does on their best days. This will create the biggest delta between their efforts and your own. In fact, just assume that other people don't have bad days at all and it's only you who struggles with these things. Remember the acronym ABM, always be measuring. Measure your own worth by your superiority to people who do worse than you, and measure your own shortcomings by the people who achieve more than you. Only consider your success in the context of how it measures up to other people, and make sure that your own sense of self-worth and accomplishment is tied directly to external factors like how well you're doing compared to other people. There were 2 acronyms in that step that I asked you to remember. Remember the acronym ABRA. Always be remembering acronyms. Step number 4 in the guide... I'm going to leave that in. Step number 4 in the guide to failing at your novel, set yourself an impossible time frame. This is great for both discouraging you as you write your novel and also as you develop your skills. Remember, every single best-selling author out there was born writing that well. When Stephen King was born, the doctor handed him a cloth to wipe his glasses off, and then he immediately wrote Carrie on a nearby typewriter. Whatever you do, do not consider your writing process as a journey. Don't think of this as a years-long voyage that will take time and discipline. Don't think about setbacks along the way as simple steps along that journey, but rather as massive roadblocks that mean that you should just quit now. Your novel should be done, and done perfectly, by the end of the day today. I mean, you can type 80 words per minute, which means your novel should only take about 13 hours to write, so you should have it by the end of the day, right? If it takes longer than that, then that's no good. Success should happen today, not tomorrow. And the last step in the complete guide to failing at your novel, step number 5, have really unhelpful beliefs. Beliefs are incredibly useful when it comes to giving up. Some helpful, unhelpful beliefs that writers can have are things like, other people have talent and skill with writing, I'll never be able to develop that. I really need to doom scroll for the next 3 hours instead of working on my novel. Writing is way harder and not as enjoyable as looking at all the crap on Instagram. My critique partner pointed out a few improvements that could be made to my latest chapter. That means that the entire novel is garbage and I should just give up now, and they also hate me. If you're lucky, you'll have thoughts like these running on repeat in your mind all day long. Remember, believe them without question and let them drive your actions. I mean, after all, these thoughts are occurring in your own head. How could you possibly have any control over that? You'll need to ignore the fact that beliefs are just manufactured by your mind, and if you examine any of them objectively, they tend to fall apart, and that if you make an effort, you can actually change your beliefs over time, which will serve you better and generally make you a happier, more productive person. But that's not what we're talking about today, so don't do any of that. Realizing that your own internal mindset controls a lot of how you perceive and react to situations in the world can be incredibly empowering, because it's something a lot of people don't realize that they can take control of. You are the one who is ultimately in control of your thoughts, and your thoughts are ultimately what's in control of you. So that might mean that you are in control of you, which is something you should ignore if you want to fail. While I can't guarantee if you do everything on this list that you will fail at your novel, these things will definitely help. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the advice in it useful to be not useful. If you want to see stuff that generally doesn't follow the tone of this video, you can check out all my other writing advice videos and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.